Let's turn our attention to our next guest, who was supposed to be in action this past Saturday at the Apex in Las Vegas. And it was an interesting road to this fight. There was some back and forth between herself and her opponent, Maycee Barber. There was some talk, hey, she has a history of not showing up. Let's see if she shows up. The face-offs were a little bit testy. Weigh-ins come. Maycee misses weight by 0.5 pounds. All right, that's a bit of a red flag, if you will. Didn't look great on the scale, but seemed like everything was good to go. Get to the fight itself, get to fight night, get to Saturday night. Seems like everything is good. And then just as the walkouts are about to happen, we get word on television, Maycee cannot walk. And then we get word that she is out of the fight due to a medical issue. Seizures have been thrown around. We haven't heard that officially from her, but scary stuff. And in the end, no one fights. Erin Blanchfield, kind enough to join us to talk about all of this. Here she is. Hello, Erin. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Very sorry about what happened this weekend. And, when we were talking about it at the beginning of the show, the part that I was sort of like having a hard time understanding was like, you're ready to go, hands wrapped, gloves on, hair braided. I can't imagine the butterflies, the nerves, the anxiety, and then you get told you're not walking. What do you do with that energy? How do you come to terms with that? How do you handle that?
Yeah, that I feel like I was kind of just in disbelief at first. Like you said, like I had my hands wrapped, my gloves on. I was already warmed up, hit pads. I was drilling. I was so ready to go, and I was already told like, oh, 6 minutes till walk out. So I was like already prepped, had my sneakers on. Yeah, and then Hunter came in and told me that the fight isn't happening, and I feel like I just don't, almost like didn't feel like it was real because I still went and did some like media right after. Yeah, it just kind of felt like deflating. Like I couldn't really feel it much then. I felt it more, yesterday. Just kind of like upset about it, but yeah, it's got to keep going.
When you found out that she was having trouble making weight and ultimately missed it by 0.5 pounds, were you worried that the fight might get canceled?
Yeah, I was worried that it might get canceled like that day if she, came in like really like messed up from the weight cut. But even at face-offs and everything, she seemed fine. So I thought the weight cut just didn't go how it was planned, and she didn't want to keep cutting, so she didn't get to the point where she wouldn't be able to compete. So I thought she kind of stopped it then and would still be able to compete the following day. Yeah, and it kind of seemed like that up until like the very end.
Come Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, now you're at the venue. Are you hearing any whispers, any sort of talk that this bout is in jeopardy in any way, shape, or form?
No, nothing was said. Yeah, after weigh-ins, it seemed like everything was fine. All day Saturday, I wasn't told anything. It was just like normal, like show up to the hotel at 5:30 to get brought to the venue. Yeah, everything was fine up until like the very, very end.
And so it's literally as you're about to walk out and Hunter Campbell comes into the locker room to tell you it's off. Does he tell you like it's in jeopardy, or is it just it's off?
No, yeah, he kind of came in. I could tell he was serious, and I knew it wasn't good when I saw him because he's not usually in the locker rooms like that. And he just kind of came in. He's like, "Oh, the fight's not happening. She's having problems." Yeah, there was no chance. He was like, "Oh, we'll get your gloves off and everything." So yeah, he was straight away with me that it wasn't going to happen.
Did you happen to see her in the back?
I didn't see her at all. Actually, I mean, I know our locker rooms were super close to each other because when I had to go do like testing when I got to the venue, I saw like where her corner was. So we were like basically like right next to each other in the locker rooms, but I didn't see her.
One thing you said in the aftermath, I believe you called her unprofessional, and she sort of addressed that. Now knowing that she went to the hospital, the seizures, all that stuff, that's what it appears to be. We haven't heard it officially from her, but that's the talk coming out. Do you still feel the same way? Do you still feel like it was unprofessional?
I mean, no, I mean, she can't control medical issues that she's having, so that's not unprofessional. I meant more the weight miss, on Friday, and kind of like the way she approached it. Like, I believe she was like offered more time to cut weight and didn't, and missed weight, and then still was acting the way she was, like at weigh-in. So that's more what I meant about being unprofessional.
And obviously understand where you're coming from. You're probably fired up in the moment. You said disbelief, a little bit emotional, I would imagine as well. You also said that her life is a bit of a mess and she needs to figure it out, and you're not interested in fighting her down the line. What did you mean by that? Like, do you, because you also said at the beginning of all of this, like, hey, let's see if she shows up. You had your doubts as well. So where is all that coming from about her just sort of being unreliable?
Yeah, that I still stand by. I mean, I wouldn't want to be matched up with her again. I mean, this fight was our second time actually getting like matched up. She pulled out of the first one, and then this one. I know she had issues, but I mean, if she does have that severe medical issues, she will be kind of an unreliable fighter. So that's why I wouldn't want to be matched up with her again. The whole life thing, I definitely was caught up in the moment myself. I mean, she probably does have some issues because if she was having issues leading up into this fight, she should have pulled out sooner just so I would have been able to have like another opponent, or maybe told the UFC she's having some problems so they can have a backup fighter. Like, been somewhat honest about like her condition. I think that definitely wasn't right of her to do either. And then with everything that happened, it just kind of blew up.
Um, did you see her post apologizing to you? And does that mean anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I wish she would have apologized, like even at the weigh-ins. I thought she would have been a little bit more, apologetic about missing weight instead of kind of doubling down. Yeah, and I know she's apologizing now, so I'll accept it.
Okay. Your manager, Oren of KO Reps, Oren Hodak, he posted that you got paid your full purse. I just want to ask you, I'm assuming that's accurate?
Yeah, yeah. Hunter came into the room. He told me that. He texted me too that I'll be paid everything, like my show and win.
Great to hear, and obviously the right call. The one thing I was wondering about was because she missed weight, you were supposed to get 20% of her purse, right? Do you get that as well?
Yes, I believe I still getting like 20% of her like show money because she did show.
Got
I
it.
mean, she missed weight, but she showed up.
Okay, so you're getting 20% of the show plus show and win. It's not a bad night, but you didn't get the fight.
Yeah, it's like bittersweet because it's like at least I was able to get paid, so it's like I'll still be able to take care of myself in that sense. But I fight because I do really love it. Like it is a job and getting paid is important, but it is a passion job for me. So it's still super deflating. I don't think I realized up until like, yesterday and today, like how sad it is. I'm like so jealous that I wasn't able to fight or even like taking out my braids. It's just, everything was so weird, like doing that without like having fought. So yeah, that was pretty upsetting.
Did you on Saturday, did you go for a run? Did you do anything just to sweat a little bit to feel like you actually, you earned getting your hands wrapped and braided hair and all that stuff?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was already pretty late and I already was sweaty just from like my
Sure,
warm
warming
up.
up, right.
Yeah, like I was already like pretty ready to go. And then I had a bunch of like family and friends that came out for this fight. So at least I was able to kind of like hang out with them and like kind of talk it through with them just so I had some people to kind of, like vent to because it was it was just so deflating. I feel like for everybody, we all had like so much energy and so much to go. And then it was just like dead, so it was definitely a little weird.
What did you do? Like, so now you're told you're not fighting, you did some media, then what happens?
Yeah, I mean, I had like an Airbnb, so I just went back and I saw like my coaches and like my family, like my parents and like my friends that came. We all just kind of like hung out. We got some food. We went out for a little bit, but it just wasn't the same. I could tell everybody was, a little bit more tired because it was kind of like an adrenaline dump with nothing, with no excitement from like a big win or anything. So yeah, we just kind of like hung out for the night.
How did you think the fight was going to go?
I was kind of expecting her to come out hard, like the first round or two, like kind of, I didn't know how her cardio was going to be those for 5 rounds. And I didn't know if she was kind of questioning that. So I was kind of figuring like that she was going to come out and try to like put me away, like right away. So I was kind of prepped for her to, come out hard and be able to be technical and try to work, that aspect of my game and then kind of like beat on her as the rounds went. Um, but yeah, I guess we won't be able to find out.
No, at least
Yeah.
it sounds like not anytime soon. We spoke to her last week, and she was quite critical of you, calling you boring and whatnot. Did you hear any of that stuff going into it, and did any of it rub you the wrong way?
I mean, she's been saying that for like years, that she thinks I can't finish anybody or that I'm boring. And it's funny because I feel like all the lead up to the fight, they would like play those clips of her saying that, followed by like all my finishes that I do have in the UFC, or me cracking people. For me, it was more funny. I kind of would laugh it off. but it would have been fun to get that fight.
She also said that she thought, nice dominant win, gets on the microphone, calls for a title shot. Were you expecting to do the same? Were you thinking that a nice dominant win over her would put you in a position to fight for the belt?
Yes, definitely. We're number 4 and 5. I feel like the division is very interesting. There's a bunch of girls coming up in the division, but I feel like with a really dominant win on Saturday, it would have put me right up there, and I definitely would have called for it.
Sometimes with these situations, the UFC kind of use it as a win. Do you have any idea if they're doing so, or is it just kind of like a fight that didn't happen? You're going to have to get a couple more to get back in there.
Yeah, I don't really know what they're thinking. I haven't really been told much yet, just because it was a lot to absorb on like Saturday. But even if I do have to fight again to prove myself, I don't mind. But yeah, I feel like I'm right there for that title shot. So whatever they decide.
Is this one of those situations where you did a full training camp, you were ready to go, and like if something is open, if there's an availability, you want to fight in 2 weeks and 3 weeks? Like, do you want to get right back in there, or do you need to go through a whole new camp again?
It depends on who I'm fighting as well. I feel like a couple of girls in the top 5 have already fought recently, so it might kind of match up well for us to fight. Hopefully like sometime like soon this year. But I would like to have a full camp. To prepare properly for whoever I do fight next. I wouldn't want to just kind of like fight anyone. Doesn't necessarily make sense, I guess, at this point. So yeah, I think I would want to get a new opponent and figure it out that way.
Okay. Historically, sometimes these things happen, and then the person who was left without a fight gets booked in a week or something like that. It doesn't sound like that's something you're all that interested in.
Yeah, just because I don't know like who it would be. I would still want to
Yeah.
fight within the top 5. Yeah.
Understood. The top 5 is very interesting, and especially the champion, Valentina Shevchenko. We think she might be fighting Zhang Weili next, although that's not 100% by any stretch. Would you be cool with that? With the 115 champ moving up to 125 and getting a title shot?
If that's what they're going to do, I know the fans would really enjoy that. I could fight like someone like Silva in the meantime, or Alexa, like any of those girls to kind of keep, proving myself. I did, I feel like without fighting on Saturday, it would be nice to get another fight. But I wouldn't say no to a title either. So I feel like it all kind of depends. I feel like with MMA and fighting, you never know what's going to happen. Like I was supposed to fight Saturday, it didn't happen.
Right.
Weili and Valentina are supposed to fight, but you don't know if one of them get hurt or I think it's always changing. So you always kind of have to keep an open mind.
I feel like the 3 options are maybe Natalia, Alexa, as you mentioned, and Jasmine. What would you think about a fight against Jasmine? She's been impressive as of late.
Yeah, no, she's been doing good as of lately. Yeah, I would fight her too. I prefer someone higher just to get me closer to that title. But yeah, whoever the UFC chooses.
We remember back in March of last year the fight against Manon, and then obviously Manon fights for the belt. What did you think of her performance against Valentina?
Yeah, I feel like she didn't fight to her style necessarily. I think Valentina did a really good job. I think Valentina really like kind of baited her in. She's an amazing counter striker. And she utilized that really well against Manon. Like Manon was coming in a little bit, more aggressive than I guess we've seen her in the past. Usually she's more of like a point like fighter. Like she'll hit and run. But she was kind of coming in on Valentina a lot and getting countered. And then she kind of went to wrestling once she realized she wasn't able to win like the striking exchanges, and was able to steal some rounds doing that. But I thought it was a little odd of strategy. I thought she was going to use her striking and like her length a little bit more in that fight.
What lessons, if any, did you learn from the fight against Manon? Obviously, you were on this great run, and it seemed like that was the number 1 contender fight. It ended up being one for her. Didn't go your way. It was a big fight for you in New Jersey, and it felt like maybe the culmination of everything. Like this was the big showcase fight. What did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, it was a tough fight. I think I had to really learn how to, use my distance better in my striking. Manon really like fought at her distance and was countering me and was definitely outpointing me that way. So I feel like that was a lot to learn from that fight. And yeah, I just kind of took like those improvements and, keep moving forward. Try not to think about it too much.
Yeah. Was it tough in the aftermath? Like, you had a bit of a break there between fights. Your next one was, I think, in November against Rose. Was that a tough thing to swallow in the immediate aftermath of the fight?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was my first like loss in the UFC. It was my first loss in like a couple of years. So it was a while since I had like that feeling. Um, and it always sucks, especially like, I mean, I guess in some ways it was nice that it was home because everybody was there. So I kind of had like that comfort. But then it also sucked that I had a main event like in my home state and didn't get the win. So it definitely was pretty rough, like immediately after. But I think in the long term, it'll be really good for me that I lost that fight because feel like sometimes I don't learn unless the worst happens. So it really pushes you to improve.
By the way, speaking of your home state, why were you're one of the most, popular fighters coming out of New Jersey, and they're in New Jersey this weekend. Why were you not fighting? I know it was main event, but feels like you would be a shoo-in for a Newark card. Why was it done like that?
I don't know. I'm not sure if they even knew that Newark was going to be that weekend when I first got this fight because I didn't. I got this fight notice back in like January, so it was a while. Like I didn't even know that they were going to be in Newark, like that exact weekend. Yeah, it would have been cool to have been on the Newark card, but it's also nice having the main event spots and having those 5 rounds. So I did really prefer that, but yeah, now it sucks not having fought, and now Newark's next is this Saturday coming up, so
Yes.
I'll be there.
Will
Yeah,
Will you be going?
yeah, I plan on going to
Okay.
watch the
You
fight.
don't want to break
Yeah.
from fighting after this weekend.
No, I mean, maybe a little break from training this week just to refresh, but I love going to the fights and Newark's super close. I can't miss that.
If they call you up in a few days and say like, "Hey, we really want this fight. We really want to run it back." What do you say?
The fight with Macy?
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know because even like literally like as we were told like in the locker room that Macy couldn't make it, like my coaches were not about that. It's just too unreliable. Um, that's not something I would love to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll say maybe thanks, but no thanks. Maybe down the line for a belt.
Maybe down the line, like maybe if she kind of gets like, her health under control, she gets some fights, has been consistent. I think her biggest problem is like her consistency. She's just not very consistent. So it's hard to want to be matched up with somebody that's, is not going to necessarily do the right thing.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking about this. I know it wasn't a very fun weekend, and hopefully we get to see you back in there very soon because the build was fun for this one. So thank you very much, Erin. Appreciate it. Enjoy the fights this weekend. And again, sorry how this all turned out.
Yeah, it's all right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, there she is, Erin Blanchfield, joining us. She was supposed to fight this weekend, as you can surmise, and it didn't work out. And I'm curious if the UFC is going to try to run this one back, if they're going to try to book it again. It doesn't seem like she is all that interested in entertaining that. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.